Hi, I'm Laura Brandenburg from Bridging the Gap. And if you are looking to get more business analyst job interviews, you are going to want a top-notch business analyst resume that really sells your skills and positions you as a qualified professional for a business analyst role. So today I'm going to share 8 business analyst resume secrets with you that you absolutely need to know and are especially relevant to you if, like so many business analysts I know, you actually don't have the business analyst job title. So let's go through these 8 secrets one by one. So number 1 is that your business analyst resume does not need to catalog your entire work history. Like, you need to show your general roles for sure, but many professionals fall into this trap of thinking they need to include a complete catalog of their work experience and represent every role evenly, or represent roles evenly based on the amount of time that you've actually invested in that role. So when you're thinking about how to structure your resume and where to put the most emphasis, you want to be selectively honest and select the skills and experiences that really qualify you most for a business analyst role, and make sure those take up the most time and space and attention on your resume. So that's secret number 1. Secret number 2 is to create a specific summary. So most recruiters, as you probably know, are going to scan your resume. They're not going to sit down and read the whole thing. So you need to grab their attention. And one way that you grab their attention is with your summary. So be specific, again, that you are qualified for and pursuing a business analyst job. This is also a great place to include the phrase certified business analyst, or the specific certification you have. That might be a certification from the International Institute of Business Analysis, or IIBA, or it might be our applied certification in business analysis from Bridging the Gap. But because many recruiters just skip past your summary, you also want to tweak your job titles, and that is secret 3. So most recruiters will skim right forward to the job titles and look for a match between the jobs that you've had and the job that you are applying for. So a quick way, an easy way to handle this if you've never had the business analyst job title, is to use a slash or a parentheses. So you might put software developer / business analyst, or customer support / analyst at least. And you only want to do this, just to emphasize, if you actually did business analysis work in that role. So you're using it as a way to show that you were doing analysis or some sort of analysis work in that role without misrepresenting your job title. Secret number 4 is to highlight your most relevant skills while, of course, always still being honest. So you want to go through and make sure that you identify your transferable business analysis skills. And if you need help doing that, a great way to start is my book, How to Start a Business Analyst Career. So we go in this book, there's a whole chapter on the specific skills that you need to be successful as a business analyst. It's a great starting point. Often things that people often do as part of our training programs is become more aware of the transferable skills that they do have. Now, once you have an understanding of the transferable skills you have, you want to focus on the projects where you held the most BA responsibilities. And often you can break those apart under your job titles as specific subsections. So maybe you were software developer / business analyst, and 10 of your projects you were just doing very traditional software development, but 1 or 2 you were engaging with stakeholders, you were getting more into the requirements, you were managing changes, and you could break those apart and showcase them as separate projects on your resume and put them at the top so that they stand out and get noticed first. And when you do that, you want to be specific about the techniques you used, about how many stakeholders you've worked with, and what benefits you contributed as well. All right, so that leads me to secret number 5, is to make sure that you're using business analysis terminology to demonstrate your capabilities. When I used to do resume reviews, I would often see people say they created documentation, and I would ask, well, what kind of documentation? And really it was a requirements document, or it was something like a business process document, or it was an issues log, or it was a use case or functional requirements document. Those words have more credibility to them and are going to match up with the terms that you see in job descriptions than just I created documentation and I communicated, right? You want to be specific in your words. So as you identify your transferable skills, you will understand more the terminology of business analysis. You want to incorporate that into your resume. So an example, and you also want to make sure that you're using the words that you see in job postings, even if it's not representing exactly how you talked about it. So an example of that is that, process flow diagrams and workflow diagrams are two words, two terms that are used to represent the same basic skill. So you could tweak and adjust that if you're seeing one set of terminology happen in your local job market more often than others. One example from my career is in the first testing role I had. We did this activity that I called at the time data testing, but it was essentially giving the sample product to end users and subject matter experts across our organization and having them use it and kind of find errors in it, and then I compiled those errors and vetted them and then worked with the developers to figure out which ones were bugs and which ones were not, right? So today, or since that point, I learned that that's actually called user acceptance testing. I didn't know what user acceptance testing was at the time, but I was actually doing user acceptance testing or something very similar to user acceptance testing. So I updated my resume to use that terminology because that's what people were looking for in the marketplace. That leads us to secret number 6, which is to gain credibility by blending accomplishments and responsibilities in your bullet points. So each bullet point that you have in your resume, you want to have a terminology that's relevant to the business analysis profession, but you also want to show what benefit or what contribution or what accomplishment you created by using that skill. So an example here would be analyze 10 process flow diagrams to get 5 stakeholders from 3 different departments on the same page about the root cause of the issues. All right, so another trick that I use there, or not trick, another secret bonus one for you is specific numbers. Do you see how that sounds different than I analyze process flow diagrams to get stakeholders on the same page? Same basic concept, but having the specific numbers gave a sense of scope. It gave the sense that there were multiple stakeholders from different departments, which just bleeds or indicates that there's complexity and that you really had to navigate some challenges there. Another example would be used wireframes to quickly get everyone on the same page about how to configure specific system. It could be like the Salesforce system or the ServiceNow system, saving hours of development time. So the benefit there is like saving time and quickly get everyone on the same page. But the BA technique is wireframes. So you're showing how you use that technique to add value to the organization. All right, secret number 7, address any employment gaps clearly. So I have seen, all kinds of tricks of the trade of how to make people not see a gap in your resume. And gaps are becoming more and more normal. And I think when you're just trying to hide it, it's just so obvious. You put so much energy in trying to hide it that it actually becomes more apparent. So if you have a gap, it is probably going to come up at some point in your interview process. It is best to state it clearly, give it a clear reason, be clear why you are returning to work. Present yourself as ready to hit the ground running. One trick here is that you can use volunteer experience to fill in gaps when appropriate, especially your most recent work experience. So when participants participate in our certification program, the Business Analyst Blueprint, which is where you can earn the applied certification in business analysis, if they are unemployed at the time, they will often volunteer to complete the on-the-job application part of that certification program. They might volunteer for a nonprofit. They might volunteer for their partner's work. They might volunteer for their local professional association, whatever. That can go as a work experience on their resume, their most recent work experience. You can give yourself then the business analyst job title, which we talked about before, and start to bullet point out the specific skills and techniques that they used and the accomplishments they made. So you're filling in that gap in a very intentional way when you do that. Final secret is secret number 8, which is someone else cannot write your resume for you. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. You can definitely hire someone to help you with wordsmithing and formatting and kind of providing some finesse. You can help somebody coach you through finding your transferable skills and really understanding how your skills match up to what is relevant in the workplace right now in the current environment. But you need to own your resume. You need to own the terminology in your resume. You need to own your qualifications, because the resume is just one part of your overall business analysis job process. And you are going to have to go in the interview and be able to back up whatever was in your resume. And you want it to present you, and you want to have tangible examples and experience to speak to for everything that's in your resume. One of the participants in our use cases and wireframes module once said that he went into a resume or an interview. I think he even had wireframes on his resume, but then they asked him about it in the interview, and he said he didn't have experience, and that's why he took the wireframes course. But he had done a skill that was actually like wireframes before, and he just didn't know to connect that dot. So when you're following these secrets here of knowing the terminology, using it in intentional ways, making sure that you own everything that's in your resume, you are not going to fall into that mistake and kind of botch an interview that you got because you didn't understand what was in your resume. All right, so those are the 8 tips. Just to quickly recap, your business analyst resume does not need to be a complete catalog or an even catalog. You want to focus on their most relevant experiences, create a specific summary, tweak your job title if needed, highlight your most relevant skills and experiences, use the BA terminology, make sure you're connecting the terminology to those contributions, address any employment gaps really clearly, and do your own work. You've got to own the output of what's on your resume, even if you receive help in coaching and getting to that point. And if you do want to receive a little bit more help from me, I have a free resource for you. It's called our Business Analyst Job Interview Prep Guide. Because once you have your resume in place, you are going to want to be ready for the job interview. And I know as a BA, often we're thinking one step ahead, right? So go ahead and use the link below to download a copy of the BA Job Interview Prep Guide. Know what's coming next after you finish your resume, and you're going to be in great shape. All right, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day. We build our profession one business analyst at a time. Success starts with you, and thanks for being here.